being cut. So what does this mean for getting a deal done in a timely fashion?
And joining us right now from the Hill, Congressman Xavier Becerra, representing California and chair-elect of the House Democratic Caucus. Also with us is Lynn Jenkins, representing Kansas and vice chairman of the House Republican Conference. Good to see you both. Thanks very much for joining us. Representative Becerra, let me kick this off with you. Are we closer to a deal today than we were a week ago? What's the holdup?
Well, we're as close as we were a week ago simply because there's an easy solution here, and that is accepting what Republican Congressman Tom Cole said we could do, which is to pass the Senate bipartisan bill that's been sitting in the House for several months. That at least gets us partway to where we want to go, and it starts us on the way. And so we can get there. Everyone could get bogged down with some of the details, but there is something sitting in the House that can get us quite a bit of the way there, and certainly help the middle class by protecting them from a tax increase.
Representative Jenkins, would you vote for that bill? And are you in favor of raising the taxes on the top income earners in this country just to get a deal done, as many Republicans are now saying they would do?
I think the majority of Republicans are committed to fixing the problem. And by just raising rates on the top earners, you get enough revenue to pay for 8 days of federal spending. That's not a solution. That's a distraction. The problem is the out-of-control, wasteful Washington spending. And so we're going to demand out of this deal some cuts to rein in this out-of-control federal government spending.
But I was asking about the bill that Congressman Becerra was just referring to that would extend the tax cuts for the middle class in this country that's in the House right now. Would you vote for that?
We want to extend the tax cuts for not only the middle class, but for all hardworking American taxpayers, because we have put revenues on the table. We have $800 billion in revenue, and not all revenues are created equal. We believe our approach is better. It is a comprehensive overhaul to the tax code. The president's proposal simply raises taxes on the wealthy. It doesn't solve the problem. It pays for 8 days of federal spending. The Ernst & Young study suggests that it hurts the economy and costs the economy 700,000 jobs. And as a CPA, I'll tell you, any CPA worth their salt already has a tax plan to plan around those higher rates.
Congressman, what about that, Representative Becerra? I mean, Republicans, you just heard it, they're countering that if those taxes are going to go up, meaningful spending cuts have to be made, especially in the entitlement programs. Number one, are you willing to vote for cuts in those areas? And number two, why is it that the Dems will not put any spending cut ideas on the table and are asking for those cuts from the Republicans?
Well, Maria, first, that last point is not true. We've already seen
Harry Reid just said
it. Maria, we've seen close to $3 trillion worth of spending cuts already enacted into law that Democrats have supported and voted for. You have
but we're talking about from here on out, Representative.
Well,
you know that.
Maria,
we're talking about from here on out.
You may be talking about from here on out, but the American people have already said they want to see a balanced approach. And if you've seen only cuts, you want to see those who have benefited from the tax breaks the most contribute a little bit as well. And so I quite honestly heard something positive in what Lynn just said, because she didn't say she would vote against the bipartisan bill that would protect the middle class. She wants to see something more, perhaps, but at least we don't have Republicans saying, no, they will oppose the middle class tax cut. And so that gives us an opportunity between now and the end of the year to make progress. Everyone has their idea of what would be a better solution. We need something that at least is good.
You don't want to hear something cut and dry from the Republicans, but you're willing to go along with it for your party. Your party's saying no deal unless the top rates go higher. How's that any starting point? How's that a compromise?
Well, that's not
accurate.
accurate.
The president said he's not going to do a deal unless the highest earners' rates go up. That's exactly what the president said.
Well, the president campaigned for over a year, indicating that he was going to ask the wealthiest 2% of Americans to return to the tax rates they had under President Clinton.
Well, what kind of a
That's
compromise
been settled. That we know. The public knew all about that. Voters voted, and they reelected the president.
Maria?
The question is this, and I can just real quickly finish. The question is this: can we make some progress? Because obviously, the two sides, the two parties, have different ways of trying to resolve this. Let's at least make some progress where even Republicans have said, let's take care of the middle class. Let's not hold them hostage to trying to provide tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans, as House Republicans have said.
Maria, the president campaigned on raising people's taxes, but he also campaigned on a balanced approach. And that's the part that we have not seen from the president or the Democrats in Washington today, is that balanced approach. We've seen that he wants to raise people's taxes, but he can't name one program he wants to cut. In fact, the last offer he brought to us.
What program do we cut then, Representative? What program do you think he's going to cut?
Maria, which of the programs under the $1 trillion in cuts that are taking place now under the Budget Control Act?
But that doesn't solve the problem. We're running a $1 trillion deficit every year.
What part of the $716 billion in spending reductions in Medicare that we passed under the Affordable Care Act do you want me to outline? There are as I said, over $2 trillion worth of cuts that have already taken place. We need to see some balance because we've seen the cuts. We haven't seen anything on the revenue side, and it's time to try to do something that is truly balanced because, as I said, over $2 trillion in cuts already underway.
It's definitely time. Thanks very much to you both. We appreciate your time today, and we'll see you soon.
Wish we could go on.
We'll be watching,
Thank you.
of course, this next